Oh, I don't know. I just don't know. Hello. I'm just trying out my new bell here. All we harbor masters have new bells. And we ring our bells when we let the harbor know, when we're coming and going. It's just... I'm not sure I even like my new bell. Now this is my old bell. My good old bell. You see this dent here? That's from the time that it fell on the floor. And I put this rope on all by myself. But I guess I'll just have to get used to my new bell. Maybe I could talk to Emily about it. You see, Emily got a new hat just the other day. Now that's a good story.
Theodore, Hank, and Emily were on their way home to the Great Ocean Tug and Salvage Company dock after a long day.
Emily?
Called the dispatcher. Yes, sir, said Emily slowly.
I have a surprise for you.
You do? Said Emily. Oh, I love surprises.
I have decided that you are to have a new hat,
announced the dispatcher. A new hat? Repeated Emily slowly.
Yes, said the dispatcher. You are too big now for that old hat.
Well, the dispatcher thought Emily would be happy about getting a new hat. But Emily didn't say a word. What did the dispatcher want? Asked Theodore. I have to get a new hat, said Emily quietly. A new hat? Theodore shouted right away. Oh, that's great! Oh, I wish I could get a new hat, added Hank. But, said Emily, I really like my old hat. That evening, as usual, the Tugs pulled their hats down and went to sleep. All the Tugs, except Emily. Emily was thinking about her hat, and the more she thought about it, the more she thought she didn't want to lose it. Tonight's the last night I can sleep under my old hat, she said to herself. My worn-out, wonderful hat. And that made her feel sad. And with her good old hat snuggled down just right, Emily finally drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Emily was just setting off for work with the other Tugs. Maybe the dispatcher forgot, she thought.
Oh, Emily?
Yes, said Emily.
Before you begin work, said the dispatcher, you may go to the repair dock and get your new hat.
I guess he didn't forget, Emily said to herself.
I can't wait to see you in it, called the dispatcher.
Maybe my new hat will be just like my old one, Emily told herself, trying to make herself feel better. But it won't have the exact same worn-out spot in the back. And it probably won't flap in the wind like mine. But I guess I'm too big to wear my old hat. Goodbye, hat, Emily said out loud. I'm really gonna miss you. A little later, Theodore and Hank were waiting for Emily to help them bring a cargo ship named Cumberland into the harbor.
Hey, who's that new tugboat?
Called Cumberland. A new tugboat? Repeated Hank. It's not a new tugboat, gasped Theodore. It's Emily. Oh, we didn't know it was you. Because of your new hat, shouted Hank. It's really fuzzy, said Theodore. It's really fresh, added Hank. And fresh was the only word he could think of just then. It's not the same, said Emily in a voice she could hardly hear. Hey, who's the new tug? It was Petra, the pilot boat. Petra's job was to help guide the tugs into the harbor with the big ship. Oh, Emily, she said, floating closer. I didn't know it was you in that new hat. I don't feel like me in this new hat, said Emily softly. It seemed everywhere Emily went, everyone honked, or whistled, or tooted, as if they were welcoming a new tugboat. No one knew it was Emily under her new hat.
What's yellow with fuzz on top of a tug?
It was another one of Benjamin's riddles.
Emily's new hat!
Everyone shouted together. Emily was so upset about her new hat that she wasn't watching where she was going. She steered straight towards Digby, the cable ship, who was busy laying cable along the shore.
Look out!
Cried Petra.
Oops! Watch it!
Called Digby. Emily roared her powerful engine and just managed to turn in time. But Digby, poor old Digby.
I think I'm jibberty-spiggity stuck,
Called Digby.
as usual.
You see, Digby is always getting stuck somewhere. And Emily knew she'd caused an accident, and that was most unlike her. She was always so careful. It seemed everyone was waiting for her to say something. I cannot work in this hat, said Emily. It's silly and dumb, and it feels different. Besides, no one knows who I am. I want my old hat back. Theodore, why did Emily have to get a new hat if she didn't want one? Asked Hank. The dispatcher said, answered Theodore. The dispatcher, he repeated slowly to himself. And then, suddenly, he had an idea. An idea that might help Emily. Emily floated all the way to her favorite thinking place, under Owen, the oil rig, and turned off her engine. I'm never going anywhere in this silly hat. Somehow, without her old hat up there on her head, it felt like nothing would ever be right again. Now, right around the same time, the dispatcher was having a serious talk with Donald Dock. I'm very concerned about Emily, the dispatcher was saying. First, she caused an accident, and now she's missing. This isn't like her at all. Uh-huh, said Donald. Uh-huh is all Donald ever says. Emily does seem different. It was Theodore, hurrying up to the dispatcher. Maybe it's her hat. Her hat? Repeated the dispatcher. Oh, yes. Emily does have a new hat today, but where is she? I really like my lifeboat, continued Theodore. Your lifeboat? Repeated the dispatcher. That's nice, Theodore, but right now I'm trying to find Emily. I've had it for a really long time, Theodore went on. Almost forever. Theodore, said the dispatcher, what are you talking about? Did you ever have something you really liked? Asked Theodore. Well, said the dispatcher after a moment. As a matter of fact, I still do. My flag. I've always had it flying, right up there over my head. It's kind of old, but, well, I like it. Emily really liked her old hat, said Theodore. I see, said the dispatcher. Do you think she misses her old hat? Maybe that's why she's acting so strangely? Well, said Theodore. And I thought she'd like a new hat, continued the dispatcher. I guess everyone has favorite things, said Theodore. Yes, agreed the dispatcher. Yes, I guess you're right, Theodore. Theodore? Now, where did Theodore go? Said the dispatcher. Everyone is disappearing in this harbor today. Uh-huh, said Donald. Emily? It was was Theodore. "Theodore," said Emily, "how did you find me?" "Oh, underneath Owen is my favorite thinking place, too," replied Theodore. "What are you thinking about, Emily?" "I was just thinking about my old hat," replied Emily. "Well, I was thinking," said Theodore, "that you should ask the dispatcher if you can have your old hat back." "But the dispatcher said I'm too big to wear my old hat," said Emily. "Oh," said Theodore with a big sly smile, "I really think you should ask him."
Ah, Emily, there you are, said the dispatcher. I was just thinking.
"I was thinking too," said Emily, before the dispatcher could finish, "that I really want my old hat back. It had a worn-out spot on the back, and it flapped in the wind, and I really miss it. And besides, no one knows who I am in this new hat."
I would really like you to have your old hat back, too, said the dispatcher.
"You would?" said Emily.
Yes, I would, repeated the dispatcher. After all, everyone has favorite things.
"They do," said Emily slowly, and then she smiled a great big smile. "Yes, they sure do." Theodore and Hank had just finished pulling Digby off the beach before the sun set for the day.
Thanks, Tugs.
Tooted Digby. "We still have to get Cumberland to his dock," said Hank. "How will we do it without Emily?" "Well, what's everyone waiting for?" Well, even in the last light of twilight, Theodore and Hank knew who it was as soon as they saw that soft, floppy, familiar old hat.
Emily!
They shouted together. "Let's finish docking this ship," said Emily. "Right," smiled Theodore. "Let's go," added Hank.
Sounds good to me,
called Cumberland. Emily felt like her old self again. That evening, as usual, the Tugs pulled their hats down tight. And with her good old hat snuggled down just right, Emily drifted off to sleep, dreaming of all the wonderful things she'd do tomorrow.
I'm glad Emily got her old hat back, too. I could hardly tell who she was myself when I saw her from way up here. You know, Emily's story got me thinking that maybe I don't have to give up my old bell after all. No, I think I'm going to keep on using my good old bell until I feel like getting a new one. After all, everyone, even harbor masters, have favorite things. Well, thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbor, and we'll see you all again next time. Now that sounds much better.
Theodore, he's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Voda, Hank and George and the harbor master too.